Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Peter Barber. I'm a professional singer and music producer, and today, joining me in her studio is...
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Zharoff from the Charismatic voice.
Yes, we're back together again.
Yes, back at analyzing amazing music, and today, well actually yesterday, Peter told me he had never heard Devin Townsend. I was like, no, must change now.
So that's what we're doing today. Thank you for the suggestions, the recommendations. This is Kingdom, performed by Devin Townsend.
Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Here we go.
Take 3, marker.
Okay, this is not my third take, this is my first take. This is my third take that would imply that I screwed it up twice before, which I didn't. So, all of you out there in EMG watching land, you know,
I'm understanding him already.
Devin.
This is incredible already.
Is it incredible?
I wanted to stop because it's such like a long epic intro. So amazing. Also, I love how he's like come up, he's just like jiving
He's like,
on the microphone. He's like,
no big deal.
He's like making jokes and he's like, da 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 da. Just like goes straight in. It's like not the sound you'd expect given his intro.
He's so casual and actually soft spoken. So it's so fun to see him perform and then also talk to him in real life and just be like, whoa. You are so down to earth, man. Yeah.
What so is the full band not with him in this performance? Is it backtracks for the drums and such?
Yes, I believe so.
So he's doing lead guitar and vocals.
Yep, and he does compose everything as well.
Everything.
Or I mean, I actually don't know for this one if he composed everything, but he can compose for everything.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier that he has just recently, I believe, released his 22nd studio album. This guy writes a lot.
Hundreds of original songs.
It's ridiculous. Yes.
Insane. Okay, let's go back a bit.
Yeah.
Let's get into this like second intro section.
Wow.
Oh my God. That is crazy.
I knew you would flip out. I was like, any person with a classical background, when they hear this, it just, your mind has to explode. There's no possible.
Heard it immediately.
Right?
It just goes up like full tenor, like space, vibrato, vocal fold closure.
He has so much actual space in his sound, right? And the drop on his jaw. You're like, whoa.
I was just noticing how like intentional his mouth shapes were. It was like, and like he would shift to a very specific position that he knows works for
and he
whatever note he's going to.
He had a lot of choral training as well. And so I think that there's a very specific vowel training that is built into him some.
For sure. It just looked so intentional. Like, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. And he throws in the grit, and maybe you can tell me a little bit about what's happening here physiologically with some of these harsher vocals.
I would love to tell you a lot more about what's happening with Devin's harsh vocals. We'll get into it some, but I've got to say his particular screams are a little perplexing to me.
Really?
Yeah. And that's really, really exciting.
Stumping
That's
the
one of the
scientist.
reasons that I really wanted him involved in our study.
Yeah.
I think he has some of the most iconic screams, and I really want to understand better what's going on in his throat. I have some thoughts about it, and I think I can definitely talk about the different anatomy that could be activated.
Cool.
But to be really specific about what exactly is happening, we just don't know it yet. But we're gonna learn early next year.
So exciting. It's
Sorry.
so exciting.
I'm very excited about this. Do you wanna go back a little further? Is this a good spot?
I think this is good. I think this is
Okay.
actually no. Let's
Can
go
I
back to
just
when he
roll?
jumps in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There you go.
Like those last few,
Yeah.
and also just like his mouth is so open,
It's
like
so
like full, wide, just agape
yeah.
to make the color that he
He
wants.
also has a huge mouth.
Huge mouth.
It's a huge mouth. That's impressive. One of the things that I can tell you is happening in his throat is that he has some upper constriction.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we like to talk about where the sound source is coming from. I think that's really important because you need to understand what fleshy bits are coming together, right? In Peter's case, most of the time, it's your two vocal folds.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
TA baby, TA.
Right? And they go wacka, 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 right? And for you, it's probably usually around like 300 hertz,
If I'm singing,
like 300 times per second-ish.
If I'm singing, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking, far less than that.
Yeah,
Far
you're
fewer.
lower. Very, very, very lower. But then when he's singing really, really, really low and hitting on some subharmonics, he's hitting up those ventricular folds, false folds. Those are right above the true vocal folds. And those have really cool ways of coordinating with the true vocal folds for things like throat singing. Really awesome. That's sometimes we'll call that like level 2, but basically just that's a lower constriction, but it's not as low as the true vocal folds. Then you go above that, and there are all of these other things up there that can
Crazy.
constrict, that are more in the top part of the vocal tract. You have things like aryepiglottic folds that are there. There are the epiglottis is kind of this like weird, crazy cartilage that can do some weird help constricting of the area. There's arytenoid cartilages. Honestly, there's just tissue that can all like sink down into almost looking like a black hole, and then we get spit that rattles around and makes sounds. There's a lot of stuff up there that can constrict. When I hear him add this constriction, it sounds like an upper laryngeal constriction. What exactly, though, is I'm just talking about the grit portion. There's still a pitch underneath it. That's his true folds going. But then you get that upper constriction, and he's dialing it in and out, and so there's more or less distortion. He's got control over that. It's great isolation.
And it's high larynx to create that constriction, right?
It depends on the sound that's being made. And by the way, people wouldn't know that except for recent DMRI findings that we just found out about Lil Ramos. So it showed different laryngeal positions here. And different positions of the larynx are needed for different kinds of sounds. And sometimes it can be really, really, really high. Oh my gosh, there's so much more I can go into here, but I'm going to blabber on.
Yeah, we can save it.
Let's save it. Just for now, higher laryngeal constriction for distortion, and he's able to add it and take away, which means control.
Tons of control.
We love it.
Awesome. All right, let's get these last couple screams, and then we'll go on.
I love how smooth that is.
Yeah, so clean. wild. Yeah, he came in on that second verse just like totally clean, like beautiful, pure, I guess probably just true folds.
Oh yeah, just true folds.
Just true folds there. But it's amazing just how much control he has over it. Like you can tell he really can just turn the dial.
He's like flipping back and forth. It almost feels like Jekyll and Hyde at times. Right?
Exactly.
It's insane. I love the clarity also of the diction, even no matter what what style he's singing in. We've got a lot of clarity of diction. And it does have a theatrical element that feels a little bit like musical theater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
Heavy metal musical theater.
Yeah. Heavy Debbie brings these things to us.
So cool. As far as like vocal structuring of that second verse, it sounded pretty similar to the first as far as like the pitches he was singing and the harshes he was using.
Yeah, I think so.
Different text, of course, but otherwise.
And sort of like definitely choices that I think that are made in the moment of how he wants to express a certain thing. I don't think he can really do an inauthentic performance, that he's just so through and through himself. And so any performance that he gives is going to have a lot of variation of what is his truth today.
I love it. He seems so comfortable performing.
Right?
Like incredibly comfortable, even though he's doing these crazy vocal acrobatics, you know?
Yeah.
He's just like laughing, like pointing at the camera and like...
Right. And super grounded.
So grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fantastic. All right. Back a bit, and here we go. Insane. God. So that's just that was a whole verse of just those harshes. And then he goes high. He's like slowly getting higher and higher until he ends on whatever note that last thing was.
There's some initial research that talks, that's looking at how narrowing of the upper part of the vocal tract actually seems to create some air pressure resistance that can assist in singing high notes. This is still super early. We have lots of more research we need to do. But we do know that these kinds of harsh distortion, these types of vocals are acting like SOVT exercises, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises, which is like a lip trill or...
Using a straw.
Our favorite thing, using a straw. There's so much research that talks about how beneficial and therapeutic that is for your voice. And it turns out you can get a similar effect by having one of those upper structures reflecting the air back. And it's the same way, I mean, my lips are doing it here. What if I have something that's squishy in the top of my throat doing that? It still can have a beneficial effect on the true vocal folds.
Wow.
We're going to do a lot more research in that too, but... preliminary stuff is looking really good, and it's being used for voice therapy, which is crazy. So the thing is, when he's going up there, I think to myself about how difficult it is to have this really, really sustained heavy line and then take it up higher, right? You know, that's like a recipe for cracking. It's extremely exhausting. But if he actually is using that upper constriction as well, we thought it was bad for years, right? It's crazy to me to think that might actually assist him in that line. Like, everything we knew was wrong.
Yeah. Thinking about harsh vocals being like therapeutic.
Yeah.
Like the complete opposite of destructive or whatever. Crazy concept.
Yes, if you do them the right way. It's sort of the trick there. Yeah.
Which I would assume Devin is doing them as right as one can.
You know, I can talk a little bit to Journey in there, just from conversations with him, but let's save that for the next pause.
Great. Here we go.
Yeah. That's so good.
And then he goes into like breathy singer-songwriter.
Right. Even
like-
has that offset. Me.
Yeah. It's like he starts like super pure, super efficient, but just true folds, and then lets it get really breathy and like falls off. Mm-hmm. Really pure, and then like,
Like dreamy.
yeah, dreamy.
Gosh.
Was that a falsetto moment?
I'm curious.
It just sounded like very high and airy.
I think it is, but I think you actually might have a better take on.
It
On
sounded. I mean, I'm sure he could sing. I'm sure he could carry the pure chest up there and sing it lightly.
Oh, yeah.
But it just had a sort of falsetto quality to it.
I think it is. I think he flips. And I think that when he does that face, it's more like, hey, yeah. I went to like this like ooh tone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then he switches back into chest voice for that next line.
Yeah.
So it goes from so that feels like a pretty obvious shift.
Yep.
In a similar range, right? Just using a different
Yeah.
mechanism.
Same pitch that he started the previous phrase on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's his falsetto face.
Falsetto face. I love that he gave us that face with that.
Yeah. He's a performer.
He is through and through.
Absolutely. Yeah. There it is again. Definitely falsetto, flipping up to falsetto.
Yeah.
For sure. And he's definitely like, I'm sure he's making it as obvious as possible. Like, I'm sure he could have a smoother navigation between them, but he's like, I'm going to show you that I'm flipping up into this lighter thing.
And it's absolutely for this effect of the tone.
Yeah. For sure. It's like
great
this
use.
sweet moment, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Okay, I screwed this up last time. Not now. Watch this. The most epic guitar solo in EMG TV's history.
He's the man. I was like, when's it gonna go? When's it gonna go? Oh, that was the point.
Yes, that's exactly the point. I love.
Watch this.
I think also when you see this, and I was talking to Peter earlier too about the fact that Devin is currently achieving this massively huge dream that he's wanted to do like forever. He's so theatrical. Everything about it, right? There's this almost over the top, but it doesn't ever feel fake, right?
No.
It's like over the top, so real, so engaging, so enticing.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, this Devin Townsend, many of you probably know, but he's writing an opera. An opera.
I would like to audition,
Right?
sir.
Right? Right? It's called The Moth, and I think you can currently find out about performances happening in March. I believe in the Netherlands. So if you guys look it up, it's going to be
That's crazy.
massively huge and wonderful. And this is one of his big dreams. You can totally tell from this.
So theatrical.
Yeah, and there's just an epic nature to it as well.
It's like these long sections,
yeah,
like long lines.
And like here, heavy, metal, progressive, but also operatic.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. I love his fake guitar solo. It's like, wait, watch this. I'm going to turn my pedal up. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to look at the camera. Get ready. And he's like, amazing, right? Nailed it. It just... Thank you. That's crazy. I just love, again, like you said, it builds like it's a big dramatic operatic piece, because it does just kind of gradually get more and more intense, and it gets higher until it finally like resolves, and he really sustains the pitch on that highest final note.
I think that his fundamental songwriting ability lends itself towards opera in a really brilliant way. I think there aren't many contemporary musicians that I think can really successfully cross over into opera, but I think he's very likely to be extremely successful in this area.
The payoff is so big. You feel the final moment beckoning.
I have a
and it's
thing
going,
I wanna
and
ask you
it's
about.
going, and it's going, and then finally we get there, and it's like, an incredible resolution.
Right. It's just such an epically long, gorgeous phrase that has distortion on it too.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. So much. Okay. Stance here. Obviously, like, this is also for playing, but I laugh at this stance, and it just cracks me up because I've seen so many tenors do this.
They're 1 foot way forward.
Yeah, specifically tenors from AVA. Like, I swear, we went to school in the same city, different years.
We're looking at you, Fabiano.
Right, that was the person I first saw doing it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's this thing. And now I see it all the time. Tenors just seem to take one step forward and then lean in. But then ever since I noticed that with opera singers, I'll see a lot of metal artists doing it on stage now. And I'm going, did anyone ever teach you at AVA to do that?
No, I feel like maybe it's just like a confidence thing, or just like feeling really grounded. I always have 1 foot slightly in front of the other one.
Yeah.
When I sing, like in a recital.
I think it can help like with their pelvis.
Yeah, you feel a little bit more athletic that way.
Yeah, because you need to get down
This
there
is extreme,
for the
though.
support.
This is an extreme stance.
That's almost the same stance that Michael Fabiano has.
I've seen it. IRL.
Okay. Operatic tenor stance.
Kind of looks like
achieved.
Fabiano too, actually. They look very similar.
Is it the hair?
I think it's the hair.
Okay. If you guys don't know who Michael Fabiano is, should go listen to him.
Very, very, very famous and successful operatic tenor.
Yeah, he's great.
Huge voice.
Really, really, really.
Canon. Vocal canon.
Yep. Shall we hear some more Fabi Townsend?
Yes.
Fabi Townsend.
Let's do it. Actually, you know what? I want to get a little more of this lead in.
This section?
Yeah.
Do it.
There we go. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. So, little insight into Devin's singing technique and the growth in the journey I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He mentioned when we did a tea time interview at one point, he mentioned that sometimes he would like taste blood in the back of his throat after screaming. And that's not what you want. Like, okay?
No.
That's not what you want. Although I have to say, I've heard about like, there's a side note I could go on there about the potential vocal challenges that a harsh vocalist might encounter that are slightly different from just clean vocalists, we really don't know too much about them. But that aside, we talked more recently about how the screaming has developed, and he said that he found that just as he went along in his career, he was been able to dial it in and back a lot more. And it's sort of amazing the amount of control he's developed on that. And I think he mentioned also that it doesn't seem as attached to the cleans. And that's exactly what we've been starting to find in metal vocalists that have this incredible longevity in the career. So I think that's what we're expecting to see is sort of this like isometric, right? Control. Really, really fascinating. But I do think that it can take a journey to get there.
Yeah, almost certainly. I mean, it's just amazing. Like he is so, like I said earlier, he's so intentional about it and just at least at this point in his journey, knows what he's doing. At least it certainly seems that way to me. He has this whole long phrase. He's kind of, it's a little more speech-like. He's letting the phrases like fall off. And then when he goes up to the higher note, it sounds like he removes some weight from it and like really threads the needle to then sustain that really high note.
Yep, exactly. Right? Totally. 100%. Let's back further. Okay, it's not really got much.
It's almost like it's like between the two for a second, and it's like figuring out where to go, and then it feels like it locks in to a certain technique. Yeah, it gets that sweet spot.
Yeah, I agree.
As he like right as he gets to the top of that phrase, basically.
It's like chaos that suddenly resolves into this like beautiful rainbow.
Yeah, it's like his voice is trying to figure out what technique and like what registration to use, and then eventually it sets on one.
That's really cool.
So cool. Bang. I guess he's saying play with me in falsetto when he sings that line.
I know.
So that makes all the sense in the world.
It's so playful.
He is being very playful with it.
Right.
He rules. He seriously rules.
He rules. I love the amount of playfulness that he has. And the way he's showing us with his hands exactly what he's doing. And he has a lot of control over the vibrato as well.
So I haven't seen Colm McGinnis perform live, but this is how I imagine he would do it.
Yeah. Like the absolute hilarious.
Yes. Just like so good, so competent as a musician and singer, but like almost laughing and making fun of himself and having a good time.
Yeah, never takes oneself too seriously.
Yeah.
It's so Devin is such an introspective and philosophical individual. And so there is an element of there is a serious element that is just about finding truth in music, but then he has this balance of also not taking himself too seriously. You know what? I might have been that truth one day, but it could be totally different now. And I like that about him. Feels very real.
It's fun and amazing that he can have that much fun while doing a truly amazing performance.
Right. It's like it seemed breezy.
Yeah, shredding on guitar while he's doing all these crazy vocals and also laughing.
Yes.
And pointing at the camera.
Yes.
Faking a guitar solo. So cool. I was wondering if he was going to take that falsetto higher in the end because he had done that same kind of flip to the same.
Or you're like, Once the same, twice again, so you get used to it, and third time has to be a little extra.
And he did eventually option up. And then, of course, he does this funny thing at the very end when he's like, woo.
Do you want to hear that part again?
I do.
Okay, because I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard it before, I need to hear it again.
I want to go back and get that first option up just to see when he makes that change. And then I think shortly after that is the cadenza that he does.
Yeah, it's a cadenza. Oh,
that was
is.
He leans all the way back and then like whips back to the mic right before he's about to sing. Like,
right?
Just great performance. Metal! I literally just want to be able to say metal like he said metal right there.
Right? I love that stare off. I
just want to keep watching him to see what he's gonna do next.
Like what? Okay, tell me more. Such a performer.
Wow.
Right. Oh.
Thank you for showing me this.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the suggestions. A lot of suggestions for this one. Wow. There's so much to say.
Yeah,
we've said a lot of good things, I think.
We've said a lot of good things. I think the next thing to say is you hope to hear more Devin Townsend.
For sure. We'll be back.
I'm not trying to influence you at all.
We'll be back with more. Guys, thank you so much for joining. If you'd like to support the channel, please head over to my Patreon. It's the best way to do it. Also, Volume 4 for the Bass Gang is out, baby. Volume 4, May the Bass be with you. Go check that out. Elizabeth, any final words? Thank you.
Just thanks for being an awesome colleague. And
of course.
I love that we don't live too far away, and so we can do collaborations like this. It's always really fun to get to enjoy music with you.
Absolutely. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Mwah!